Welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org, and if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, World Suicide Prevention Day, the Jamaican reality. And in the second watch, the government's proposed minimum wage increase. For our social media question, we ask, in light of World Suicide Prevention Day, what would you say to encourage someone who is having a hard time coping with the challenges of life? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel. And also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Helen Keller.
Okay, thank you very much, Darren. Good morning.
You're welcome, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
How are you this morning, my brother?
Not bad at all.
Yeah, I heard you singing earlier.
It's Inspiration Wednesday.
Yeah, you really put yourself into this one. Yes. You know, that's an interesting quote, by the way, from Helen Keller. I don't know how many people remember that she was blind, deaf, and mute, but she persevered in spite of all the challenges that she faced. And an inspiration even today. May we continue to be inspired by her life and legacy. The first watch after this break.
I am a man, yes. Strong man. On the next episode of The Mailbox, we will be exploring the topic, The Literate Man, Part 1. A literate person can read and write with ease and comprehension. Literacy enables critical thinking, analysis, and evaluation of information. You are invited to join the conversation with our guest, Mr. Robert Dixon, Operation Restoration Christian School in Trenchtown, and retired Major Carl Chambers, President of Integrity Children's Fund based in Atlanta, Georgia, as they share about ways in which we can enhance the knowledge, social opportunities, and communication skills of our boys that will enable them to make more informed decisions. That's Wednesday, September 10 at 5:30 p.m. only on the family station. Love 101, The Mailbox, Monday out. Strong man, integrity man, I am a man. Hey man.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now today, September 10, is World Suicide Prevention Day. And since 2003, the day is observed in order to provide worldwide commitment and action against suicides. Now, each life lost has profound social, emotional, and economic consequences, deeply affecting families, friends, workplaces, and entire communities around the world. The triennial theme for World Suicide Prevention Day, that's 2024 to 2026, is changing the narrative on suicide. And to help us understand suicide more, and to provide a Jamaican context in that regard, we have online Dr. Donovan Thomas, President and the founder of Choose Life International, and Angelique Cohen, who is a mental health advocate. Good morning to you both. Good morning. Not hearing either. Good morning, Dr. Thomas, Miss
Good
Cohen.
morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Reverend.
Yes, yes,
Reverend
man.
Dylan.
Yes, man.
Son,
Good.
how are you?
I'm well. You? How are you?
I am good, sir.
Yeah.
I'll bet you after today.
Yes, yes. Long time no see or
Yes,
talk to.
sir.
What? Good to have you with us. Um.
Greetings,
Yeah,
staff,
Miss.
love, and also our listeners around the world.
Yes, sir. Yes. Angelique Cohen, are you on? You're sounding low, Miss Cohen. Could you be closer to the mic or do something differently so we can hear you better? Speak again. A little, but we'd like it to be a lot more. All right. Good to have you on with us. I begin with you, Dr. Thomas. What are the figures in regards to suicide globally and locally? And why are they a major concern?
Wow, wow, wow. Over 720,000 people die by suicide every year
Hmm.
around the world. For every person that dies by suicide, at least 20 others have attempted, and
Hmm.
another 100 has thought about it. Suicide is a major issue in around the world,
Yeah.
and we are seeing issues in Jamaica that cause us concern, and we want to praise God that the rate in terms of per 100,000 in Jamaica is relatively low compared to several parts of the world, including some of our Caribbean neighbors. And but what we're seeing is an increase that is concerning. There's a report this past week that says we're seeing an all-time high in over 20 years in the number of suicides reported per year.
Hmm.
In the year 2020, sorry, in the year 2000, we recorded 80 suicides in this nation, and in that for that year, we have not gone back to that number as far as I know, as reported by the police at this point in time. But we are seeing the high of in the 60s, so that means on an average more than one per week, and that is concerning. But Dr. Toussaint,
Hmm.
what is even more concerning for me is the vulnerability. Those so many others who are feeling as if they can't make it. So, given broken love affair, conflict at home, some of our other reversals in life, they could just decide that they can't bother because there are so many depressed people walking around in this Jamaica land we love. And depression is a major mental health issue that trigger people to want to take their own lives.
Of course, we're going to say a little bit more on that later. Angelique Cohen, I gather that you have personal experience in regards to, suicide ideation and intention. What can you share with us this morning? Angelique? No, worse, no. Don't know what's going on there. Try again, Angelique. Let's hear you again.
Can you hear me better?
Yes. Okay. That's a little better. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, well, I would share from my own experience that I have tried to take my own life, hence why I am so huge on being a mental health advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say from my own experience that the issue is not really that most people want to die. It's just that I would say it's more painful to live.
Hmm.
And um, we have such a stigma in Jamaica, around the world, but especially in Jamaica, that either you're mad, and a lot of people are scared to talk about what it is that their peers think. And we also have an issue with stigma when it comes to class. So, for example, the year that I attempted, a friend of mine attempted, and her attempt was successful. And I think that within itself speaks for itself.
Hmm. And can you? Well, thanks for saying what you just said. It's not that more people want to die. It's just that it's more painful to live. Can you tell us what was your experience in terms of the triggers? Why is it you had suicide ideation?
Well, for me, um, I was diagnosed clinical depression and anxiety from I was 27.
Hmm.
But the issue is that there's always a root. So I went through a very traumatic childhood. So my parents died when I was young, and to keep it in a nutshell, I'm just gonna keep it at a traumatic childhood.
Yeah.
And this is where I would say that to help this issue, I think that when I think parents need to listen to their kids more, have open conversation with their kids more, and if they see any triggers that they think that they should carry their child in for counseling, they should. Because when it comes to, again, the stigma, and they don't want to carry their child in for therapy because they're thinking about what others will think,
Hmm.
what ends up happening is that it manifests in the child at an older age. And then it's like you shake up a bottle of Pepsi,
Hmm.
and then it just so that's what happened that's what happened in my case.
Yes, yes. Dr. Thomas, Angelique mentioned the triggers. As far as you're aware, what are some of the main triggers, causes, factors influencing the suicidal ideation or tendencies?
You know, there are several triggers. As I mentioned earlier, there are many people who show some amount of vulnerability. And when these things happen, they could easily take their own lives. Let's think about broken love affair, especially uh, in teenagers. When teenagers become sexually involved and the relationship breaks up, the trauma that they go through is similar to what adults go through during the divorce proceedings. And the emotional state is not developed enough to be able to handle it. So we see that even in the adult world,
Hmm.
we also see failure of exams, having to repeat a grade, a class, as we have seen in this nation, as reported in the media recently,
Hmm.
when there is a sense of hopelessness, loss of loved ones, loss of status, loss of even work, those can actually serve as triggers.
Hmm.
And uh, just being told that there may be just losses, death of loved ones, loss of status. And I also want to just say to us, there is a dimension that we can talk about in this context that is demonically motivated, because we have seen that there's something called the spirit of suicide, that medication cannot help, but
Hmm.
it is the prayers of the saints that are going to be able to help with that. So I would just want to highlight those few stuff, and to be able to say, even more important than knowing what is the cause, we need to know what are the warning signs, and we need to know what are the protective factors. What can we do as a church? What can we do as a nation? What can we do as families to protect our people against suicide ideation, suicidal choice?
Yes. Of course, you mentioned broken love affairs, failure, sense of hopelessness, losses, and demonic motivation. Say more on the last one there, Dr. Thomas.
Before I do that, allow me
And
to also just mention just the role of sexual abuse
sexual
in
abuse in
in
general, perhaps.
yeah, abuse in general. But their sexual abuse is so destructive.
Okay, hearing you loud and clear. We're up on a
And
break. We're up on a break, Dr. T. We'll be right back for more.
all right.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
We are York St. Peter's Evangelistic Organization, Jamaica. Join our international ordination program and study to become an ordained minister. With practical workshops and ordination in Jamaica, there's no need to travel. We have discounted tuition and payment plans just for Jamaica. This 10 months online study from home program begins on October 6, 2025, and ordination is in August 2026. For further information, please visit yorkstpeters.ca.
Mama work hard, for real. She do the most to send me and my brother go school. So, the dream was always to go to university. Well, I fulfilled 2 dreams with 1 Jane Bank savings plan, I further my education and I make mama proud.
Save so you can make the par, travel far, graduate like a star.
Stop wishing you could. With your Jane Bank savings, you absolutely can. Jane Bank will help you find a way.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and this is the first watch. We are discussing the whole matter of suicide on this World Suicide Prevention Day. And in so doing, we have online Angelique Cohen, who is a mental health advocate, and Dr. Donovan Thomas, president and founder of Choose Life International. Before the break, Dr. Thomas, you had mentioned as, telltale signs and also triggers, broken love affair, failure, sense of hopelessness, losses, abuse, and you said sexual abuse in particular, and the demonic motivation. Could you say more on the demonic aspect? And I'm asking because if you're not careful, there are some persons that's what they think is the problem first and foremost before looking on the other factors. How do we arrive at that conclusion?
Okay. Well, let me share with you my own experience.
Mm-hmm.
While I used to work in this nation of Jamaica, I had a 13-year-old who came to me because he had attempted suicide the day before. He heard voices saying, "Nobody loves you." He had really just had a fight with his brother. Nobody loves you. Nobody cares about you. He heard instructions that said, "There's a rope underneath the table. Pick up the rope. Sorry, rope in the cupboard. Pick up the rope. Go down the ackee tree. Climb the ackee tree. Put the rope around the neck. Now jump." And as he was about to jump, somebody found him. One of the challenges for me, as I've done ministry in this area for over 30 years, is to determine, is this demonic or is this mental illness?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing my routine assessment to be able to just see what's the situation with him. In the middle of the interview, I realized his eyes turning over, his hand doing all kinds of weird gesticulation.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I was not dealing with something emotional. I called in one of my staff members and said, "Let's pray over this man, this young man." Before we prayed, I said to him, "Say after me, John belongs to Jesus, not his real name." And the outright response was, "John belongs to Satan." Not once, not twice, not 3 times. And we prayed over him. He was delivered from the spirit of suicide. He was set free.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a demonstration of what we have seen. I heard wrestling in another apartment in my wife's office, next door to where my office was. I heard wrestling. I got inside there and my wife was holding on to a lady who was twice her size. I didn't know all of what was happening. I just said, "In the name of Jesus, I take authority against principalities and powers in this place. I command you, spirit of darkness, to go." I heard something dropped. And when I looked, it was the bottle that the lady was going to use to cut her throat. And then she just wilted there. So those are some examples. This is what I'm not saying. I am not saying that every suicide attempt is triggered by
Demonic.
demonic activity. Mental illness is real, and over 60% of those who die by suicide are people who suffer from depression. Over 90% of those who die by suicide suffer from mental illness in one form or another. So we have got to use the biopsychosocial spiritual model of intervention. And that takes me back to what, when we talked this morning about the foundations of suicide prevention, that's the model that we are using to pivot, to say that is what we are presenting to the nation and to the world as we present today from the seminar at Terra Nova Hotel, that here's a model that we can use to be able to do a thorough assessment. Is this psychological? Is this spiritual? Is this social? Is this emotional? So that is a little bit, and that could take a whole discussion.
Oh, yes.
We're offering all kinds of support to people. Every Sunday evening we have webinars going on that just dig deep. There are lots of information on our website that people can explore more on the topic of their interest.
Yes.
We are expecting today, Dr. Toussaint, to have people from probably 20 nations with watch parties in Cuba, across Jamaica, in Uganda, Malawi, Peru, and so forth, in the USA too. So that's it, and people can still join online. We have the capacity for in-person, but people can join online, and we're saying if you are interested, you have get registered. Yes, there's a fee associated, but just because you are listening to Reverend Toussaint, anybody that wants to be a part of the seminar online, the first 10 people to send me a message, Reverend Toussaint, I'll be willing to give them complimentary passes just because they're listening to Morning Watch today.
Okay, we appreciate that, sir. All right, Angelique Cohen.
Let me just give you that number, please.
We want to do it at the end of the program. Say it's more impactful. All right.
Good.
Yeah, Angelique Cohen. General responses to your suicide ideation, both helpful and hurtful. What can you share with us in that regard? Angelique?
Expand on that a bit.
Just
for me,
how
please.
persons responded to it. Those who knew, helpful and hurtful responses. Want to share on that?
Helpful would be because, as I said, I was an advocate before, but after, that led me to my journey. So helpful in terms of thanks for sharing, thanks for helping. You have helped more people than you think, and as I said, I started writing articles. People came to me for advice, and it would go on, just like how I'm speaking to you right now. Hurtful would be, oddly enough, a lot came from the church, because as far as there are certain churches that think that God heals all, so medication is not needed, or something that it just doesn't exist at all. From my family, especially, or as I said, we have a classism issue in Jamaica. So from, like, say, upper middle class up to middle class, it's basically, we don't want to hear about it, because we have this also taboo in Jamaica, which is you don't put your dirty laundry outside, you keep it in the family. So once you put it out there, it is putting shade on the family. So basically, it's an embarrassment.
So you're saying,
I had to tackle with that.
I'm sorry. So you're saying the middle class to upper middle class persons generally wanted.
I would not say middle. I would say upper middle class to middle, and I'm not generalizing and saying everybody. I'm saying most.
The stigma was greater in that social strata. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Generally, when something like that happens, it's not something that's spoken about. because you're not going the upper class is generally not gonna be okay with saying my child is having issues, my child attempted suicide, my child is having suicide ideation. No, they will go to more private places because they're afraid of bucking up their friends. They're afraid of, all of those things. So when it happened to me and I decided to speak openly about it, that was definitely an issue with my family, because as far as they're concerned, that should have been handled privately and not been something that was spoken about to shine a light on them.
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks for sharing that. Dr. Thomas, how do we deal with these issues? What are the best ways? Can you share some of
Well,
those with us?
I want to call upon all of us as a nation and wherever you are in the world to be willing to listen in a non-judgmental way.
Mm,
Be willing to show care and concern. I want to say to us, let's promote protective factors, build strong relationships in families, in communities, in the classroom, wherever we are. We can speak life, speak positively about people's lives. You don't know the pain, the hurt that people go through. So you don't know what persons have carried over the last week. So we're just saying, just be gentle. Be slow to criticize and quick to compliment and seek help. Choose Life International stands available to help. The Ministry of Health in Jamaica has a 24-hour mental health helpline, and we can just make use of those on this World Suicide Prevention Day. I want to call upon us to learn the signs, to know what to do to intervene, and to be proactive in saving another life. Deal with your own story, your own past hurts, your own challenges and difficulties, and empower yourself to live a healthier, happier, more fulfilled life, that you can be an agent of change in this world. The story that Angelique has is one that reflects that your pain has purpose. It doesn't matter what we're going through. We can rise up and pivot from where we are to be able to help ourselves and help others.
yes, and you mentioned the signs, and we perhaps spoke a little on that already. But is it only that persons actually express desire to commit suicide? Are there other things that we need to be looking out for?
Well,
Can I
we
speak
can,
up? Sorry,
there,
go ahead.
I don't know if
Angie?
It sounds like Angelique wanted to say something on that.
No, I was just saying there's certain signs such as you'll find an individual giving away things that are important to them. They'll feel hopeless and empty. You'll see those signs. They no longer find things in the joy that they usually do. Some people have a way of saying goodbye in terms of odd messages, like they'll just call and say, I just wanted you to know that I love you. I just wanted to know that I appreciate. So if you find that they're generally depressed and they're calling to leave these kind of messages, and as I said, giving away all of things that are important is like a sign of saying that they're leaving. So if
Mm,
you find that they're depressed and you think the best thing to do is to just show up, keep calling, even though they're withdrawing, keep calling. And
mm,
if they don't answer, show up.
mm.
Show up.
And they're showing signs that they're leaving. Dr. Thomas, you had some numbers and information to share with us in closing. The suicidal hotline number, for example,
Yeah, 888 New Life.
888
888,
New Life.
yeah,
Okay.
New Life.
Okay. All right. Any other information you want to share with
And
us, sir?
then for those of you who want to get the complimentary online passes, the first 10 to respond will benefit from that. It is 876-869-3403. 876-869-3403.
3403. 869-3403. Correct?
876, yeah, 869-3403.
Okay. All right. Thank
Then
you. Thank you both for joining us.
address is
Yes,
just
and all the
so,
best for the plans for today and the rest of the week, sir.
all right, then make sure you get
Okay, great.
just send me a text up.
Yes. Thank you, Angelique Cohen and Dr. Donovan Thomas. Have a safe and productive day.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Listeners, the Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
Start your journey with a JN Small Business Loan with small business loans as little as $10,000 and up to $4 million. The time by JN Small Business Loan is
7:30.
Are you ready for something mega?
Spend $6,500 or more before GCT. Drop your entry in the box and you can win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels Tour promotion. Every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai. Restaurant, Heineken, True Milk, Rex, Walker's Wood, Downing, CPJ Daiquiri, and Carryburst. Juice Concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart. Best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Rating Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
We've seen a lot of our customers make some good moves over the years. Whether it's sharing a hug with a friend you haven't seen in a long time or sharing a meal, Grace has been there. So let's keep making these moments together, because rest assured, every time you choose Grace, you know you're making a good move.
Always a good move when you're moving with Grace.
Jamaica, get ready to move on Caribbean Wellness Day. Join the Ministry of Health and Wellness on Saturday, September 13, 2025 at Hope Zoo for the Caribbean Wellness Day 3K Fun Run Walk and Wellness Village. Warm-up starts 6:30 a.m. Then the Big Run Walk Extravaganza starts at 7 a.m. sharp. Admission free. The first 500 participants get a Jamaica Moves t-shirt. Register for the Fun Run and Walk. Registration closes September 8. Sign up now at moh.gov.jm/corporate wellness. Get your free health checkup and sample healthy snacks at our Wellness Village while watching the thrilling obstacle course challenge among our corporate wellness challengers, plus a special race for seniors, influencers, and even the kids. It's Caribbean Wellness Day 2025. Let's move together for a healthier Jamaica.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are really saying and doing. We're seeing here across the board serious discussion on low voter turnout needed, says former Prime Minister Golding. Also, Prime Minister Holness to meet with the Governor General tomorrow following election victory. Mackenzie urges vigilance by mayors in ensuring political signs are removed. St. James registers largest decline in murders so far in 2025. That's good. And UTech Students Union concerned about issues plaguing module selection process. And on a sad note, football legend Alan Skillcole has died. Condolences to his family and relatives. Coming up next, we'll share some of the feedback from our social media question. In light of World Suicide Prevention Day, what would you say to encourage someone who is having a hard time coping with the challenges of life? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. Soon come back.
Hey, small people crew, it's me, Auntie Vashti, and I have some wisdom to share with you. Join me every discussion Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on the Small People Show, where little voices make big sounds. Inside Discussion Wednesdays, we have meaningful discussion about life skills, safety, self-awareness, and how to be the best version of you. Don't miss out. Tune in this and every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. with me, Auntie Vashti, only on the Family Station. Love 101.
So sing with joy, let your spirit soar. Small people doing big things forevermore.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Darren for a look at how Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp friends answer today's question. In light of World Suicide Prevention Day, what would you say to encourage someone who is having a hard time coping with the challenges of life? Darren?
All right. So, Cherry from Spanish Town says, "Good morning, everyone. I would encourage them start giving God thanks for the little things. There is hope in God. Do you know how many persons love and care about you? God loves you with an everlasting love. And also think about the persons you are leaving behind or will feel hurt. Life is hard, but you don't really want to die." So that would be her encouragement.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Cherry. Well said. And of course, I want to remind the listeners, those who are facing suicide ideation, those who have suicidal thoughts, you can call 888 New Life, 888 New Life. And in regards to the seminar that Dr. Thomas spoke of, it's 876-869-3403. You can call and get free access to that seminar, first 10 persons who do so. So please make use of these avenues and ventures. As we now segue into the second watch, a few days short of last Wednesday's elections, the then campaigning Andrew Holness pulled what many pundits have called a campaign trump card when he announced that his government, if elected, will double the minimum wage over a 5-year period. Well, today, a week after the elections and with a third mandate to govern, the question is, how impactful will this decision be to the public in general and the business sector in particular? And so as we speak about that, we bear in mind that, the current minimum wage is at a certain rate. Is it 16,000? And the proposal is to incrementally increase it over a couple of years to 32,000. And what we are seeking to explore this morning deals with the reality of that. What are some of the issues and implications of that going forward? Not sure if we have our guests on at the moment. Both guests are on. One, who is on? All right. So we have, first of all, is it Metrisiaga? Okay. So Metrisiaga, president of the private sector organization of Jamaica, and we hope to be joined by Keenan Faulkner shortly. Metrisiaga, good morning to you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, good to have you on with us as we discuss this very important topic. Now, we're going to cut to the chase. What are your opening thoughts on the proposed doubling of the minimum wage over the next few years, though incrementally?
Right. So I think it's important, when it was first announced as a doubling of the minimum, it was a shock to everyone. because that in and of itself would have been a problem. However, a gradual increase we feel is a good thing. First of all, let me just start by saying that the private sector organization of Jamaica and me personally feels very, very strongly about the fact that our minimum wage should be a livable wage. We want people to be able to be working a week's pay and be able to live and have money to come to work and have money to eat. And, they should not be working and be in poverty.
How is a livable wage determined before you continue?
That's the key. So number one, we feel that any increase in the minimum wage should be dealt with through the commission that has been established. And my understanding is that the commission has approved this suite of increases. The second thing that must be discussed around an increase in the minimum wage or an increase in wages in any way, shape, or form is productivity. We cannot continue to increase minimum wage or increase wages without a commensurate increase in productivity. And that productivity needs to be around not only labor, but it needs to be around total factor productivity, which includes capital and labor.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, I'm trying to read between the lines. Are you in agreement with the proposed doubling of the minimum wage?
I am in agreement with a gradual increase in the minimum wage once it is approved by the commission that has been set up. Once it is three things approved by the commission, is linked to productivity, and also is linked to inflation. Once those three things are considered, then yes, the PSOJ would be in favor of an increase in the minimum wage.
Yes. Now, in defending the proposed increase, the Prime Minister reportedly stated, and I quote, by increasing the minimum wage gradually, you shift the incentive to work in favor of work. That will give great opportunity for growth in the economy, end of quote. What are your responses to that statement?
Well, my response is that I'm very happy to hear the Prime Minister speaking about growth, because growth is the single component that we are missing, in my humble opinion, from what we have done. We have done all the hard work. We have got the macroeconomic stability in place. We have gotten all of the markers that we need to get in place. We have checked all the boxes. The one that we have not, and the stubborn one, is growth. We keep growing either at anemic rates or not at all. And we have to grow our economy. And the way to grow the economy, in my opinion, is to grow it outside of Jamaica. We have to expand the size of the pie. And our Minister of Industry and Commerce has said it, and said it repeatedly. We cannot continue, or we cannot get rich selling our goods and services to 3 million relatively poor people. Just not going to work. So we have to expand our borders outside of Jamaica. We have to start exporting our goods and services, or we're not going to grow the economy.
Yeah, but they're not mutually exclusive, are they? Could both be done in terms of the minimum increases, minimum wage increase, I should say. Could that be done as well as the expansion in our borders, as you mentioned?
Absolutely, but we are going to have to become more productive. Our productivity rates have fallen continuously for the last 40, 50 years. And we have got to become more productive as a nation. And it's little things that are going to make a big difference. So if we don't become more productive and we increase our salaries and we become less productive, then what's going to happen is that we are not going to be competitive internationally.
Yeah. More and on. We are up on a break. Mr. Siaga, we'll be right back.
The time that Grace could move is
7:45.
Don't let freshness ditch you when you need it the most. Wash your clothes with Downy Softener to keep dazzling everyone around you from day to night. Try Downy Softener now.
Time is running out. This is your chance to level up. Register now for the CXC June 2025 exams with the Overseas Examinations Commission. The deadline is February 21, 2025. No delays, no excuse, just success. Visit www.overseasexams.org.jm to register. Call 876-618-3721 or email help@overseasexams.org.jm. Follow us at Overseas Exams on social media. The Overseas Examinations Commission, Jamaica's examinations hub.
Shake and go. Come on to a shake and go. Step on the field. Have to increase the tempo. Come on to a shake and go. Flavors feel nice. Nutrition for your lifestyle. Come on to a shake and go. The net we are kick. Schoolboy football season and keep. Come on to a shake and go. Try these delicious new flavors today. Chocolate, vanilla, peanut, and butter pecan. Come on to a shake and go.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. In this second watch, we're examining the government's proposed minimum wage increase. In so doing, we have had online Metri Siaga, president of the PSOJ, and now we are joined by Keenan Fortner, IMF economist. Welcome to you both again. Welcome. Miss Fortner, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good to have you with us. All right, Miss Fortner, I wanted to just ask the question I asked earlier. What are your opening thoughts on the proposed doubling of the minimum wage over the next few years?
Right. So I think that the minimum wage being doubled over a period of time is likely, to. I'm hearing an echo.
Yes, we're going to try and fix that, Mr. Fortner. Continue.
Right. So phasing it sustainably is something that is always, desirable. And I think we just need to move the conversation to livable wage. And the government did mention that they are going to go in that direction. There has not been any real evidence that the minimum wage has resulted in increase in inflation or unemployment over the period that it has almost tripled in the last 8 to 9 years. So, but at the same time, I think if you're going to increase minimum wage, it should at least be in line with inflation and consistent with increases in inflation, which it has been over the period and will continue to be over the next 5 years. The Prime Minister mentioned that inflation, the minimum wage being increased will sort of shift the incentive to now be employed as opposed to being unemployed because of low wages. And I think that is something that can only be satisfied if minimum wage laws are properly enforced.
Uh-huh.
You know, you can't now have persons paying below it. And then, of course, you do have persons who continue to pay above the rate of minimum wage. So if it increases beyond what the market can bear or beyond what the market can accommodate, then that might incentivize greater informality, I should say. But a livable wage, you know, if you enshrine it sort of in legislation as you do with minimum wage or some policy or other corporate responsibility frameworks, then, you know, it will get greater legitimacy over time. We speak about minimum wage and we have to frequently increase it, at least to keep up with inflation. But a livable wage is not something that we have sort of sat down and said, let us calculate what it might be. It could be different across different segments of the country where expenses are different. So over time, we probably need to shift that conversation, because for now, you're going to continue to have routine adjustments in minimum wage every year over the next couple of years. We have continued to do that over the last 8 to 9 years, and that's not going to stop anytime soon.
Yes. So, but generally speaking, you're okay with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
nobody can reasonably disagree
Right.
with minimum wage being increased.
Yes.
There's people have spoken about inflationary concerns and unemployment. We are now at a state of full employment. It doesn't negate the need now to increase productivity so that you can afford to pay people more. That is always something that will be complementary. Also, the proportion of minimum wage earners in the entire labor force of 1.5 million persons is probably less than 10%. So, increasing the minimum wage is not going to suddenly cause the sky to fall down, sort of thing. It's not enough persons are earning at the level of minimum wage or below to sort of distort the market negatively and drive inflationary pressures to such an unmanageable extent. So it should be raised, and doing it and phasing it sustainably over the next 5 years is the proper way to go about it.
Yes. Metri, you first. There are those who may argue that employers and wealthy individuals raise these concerns generally every time there is an increase in the minimum wage, because they are basically selfish or self-centered. What's your response to that criticism?
I can understand why people feel that way, and I can, if you don't dive into the discussion, you will get that feeling. One set of people are paid at a lower rate than others, and the ones that are at the higher rate don't want to pay the ones at the lower rate any more money. That's the narrative, but it's not true. It's not like that. The increase in minimum wage increases everybody's salary, because when you have a minimum wage that goes up, you have people who were at that higher rate before that you have to move up now, because you can't have them earning the same as the minimum wage. So it does have a ripple effect. However, I want to come back to the argument. We cannot continue to have increased salaries unless we peg it to inflation and unless we increase productivity. Because if any company or any person that continues to pay more money for the same level of productivity, they are going to eventually go out of business. And that helps nobody.
Yeah, but the productivity you speak of will happen over time. It's not instant. So there are those who would argue that have the minimum wage increases taking place now to deal with those who are at the bottom of the ladder in terms of income generation.
And we agree, and that is why I'm saying nobody, as Mr. Fortner just said, nobody with a reasonable mind can say that increasing the minimum wage to a livable wage is wrong. We do not say so. We say that we support it, but we say so we support it with some caveats.
Yeah,
and we need those caveats to be at least explored.
Yeah, Mr. Faulkner, that phrase "livable wage" keeps on coming up. Is there a figure? How do we? Well, I'd ask her how we arrive at that, but how do we know that we are there?
Well, you hope to calculate a livable wage mostly by trying to aggregate what your expenses are going to be. And it is also dependent on your consumption. So just as how you would calculate inflation based on what people use in their consumption basket, that is probably a good way to start. So if most of your expenses are, living expenses based on rent, food, other utilities like internet and light and water and so on, if you are able to know, calculate what that looks like, and that's going to look different, obviously across the island.
Mm-hmm.
In Kingston, it might be very different from Montego Bay or Ocho Rios or St. Elizabeth. And then when you arrive at that sort of figure based on what average expenses will be, also taking into account, what it looks like not just for a single person but also a family of 3 or 4 or
Right.
5,
Right.
then you are sort of closer to that figure. But livable wages just look different regionally, locally. So it's hard to really arrive at a single figure that you can say, look, this is what people generally can survive on. That just looks different.
So we shouldn't
By
talk about it then,
jurisdiction,
Mr. Faulkner,
but
if
it is
it
a
is.
start, and
Should,
that is the direction that we should be heading in.
yeah, we shouldn't.
So that is not something that you can calculate with any serious degree of precision, but it is just a guide to say, look, this is what the current cost of living looks like, and therefore, based on available ability to pay, the space that companies have, they can say we are committed now to at least paying at or close to what that level looks like.
Mm. Based on what you just said, Mr. Faulkner, I'm wondering why mention it then if it is such a variable entity. Why talk about livable wage if there's so many factors that go into determining any figure, if we should have a figure?
Well, it's never going to be perfect. And I think livable wage conversations really come up because a minimum wage in some instances is just broad and right across the board. So it might satisfy the needs and concerns of some people where they can live off it, but for many other persons, it won't. So it's always about now trying to see how things can be done better. We don't want it to be a sort of exercise in theoretical abstraction kind of thing where it seems impossible. But most countries are moving in this direction. It is just about now trying to shift the narrative and the conversation, just like as it is how we measure the wealth of countries. For very many years, we spoke about economic growth, and that being absolutely essential to trying to assess how countries are wealthy. But laterally, we now speak about economic development and the other facets of development beyond just income and GDP and so on. So it's just one of those conversations that it might not bear fruit today, but if you continue to put some amount of focus on it, it can be something that is eventually realized in the next maybe 10 to 20 years.
Yes, 10 to 20 years. Final thought, Metrisiaga, the way forward in bite-sized points?
Well, as I said earlier, I think the way forward is to make sure that the increases that they're having are linked to productivity. They are ratified and certified by the Commission, and that they are linked to inflation. I think if those three things are taken into account, we will have a good guideline to move forward with.
Yes. You want to say anything on that, Mr. Faulkner?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Metri on that. We have to continue to speak about productivity, and productivity is one of those challenges that disproportionately affects even small businesses who are now also bearing the disproportionate burden of the increase in minimum wages. So that requires some additional focus. Of course, now also increasing minimum wage at the level of inflation yearly and just pegging it to inflation, it augurs well for predictability. So both those two things, inflation and productivity, we have to continue to have these discussions in that sort of context.
Yes, and also the commission needs to be consulted or having meetings with them in that regard. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Interesting, insightful discussion. Have a safe and productive day.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you so much.
Yes, great. And listeners, just a correction to the news headings that were read earlier. Gather that the Prime Minister will meet with the Governor General today, not tomorrow, but today in that regard. That's a correction. All right. So thanks to Metrisiaga and Keenan Faulkner. And thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we continue to set the stage for a discussion of topical and controversial issues. For information how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch, thanks to our producer and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, returning you to Love in the Morning with Darren Mitchell.
The time on Love 101 is 8 o'clock, and my friends, you're now invited to listen to the program Forward in Faith, brought